जेपी तुम्हाला युट्यूबची लिंक येते ना? व्हॉट्सअपवर टाकतात ना? तुम्ही टेलिग्रामला नाहीत का? टेलिग्रामवर टाकणार ना? जेपी तुम्हाला युट्यूबची लिंक येते ना? व्हॉट्सअपवर टाकतात ना? तुम्ही टेलिग्रामला नाहीत का? टेलिग्रामवर टाकणार ना? जेपी तुम्हाला युट्यूबची लिंक येते ना? व्हॉट्सअपवर टाकतात ना? तुम्ही टेलिग्रामला नाहीत का? टेलिग्रामवर टाकणार ना? झालं काय? तुम्हाला युट्यूबची लिंक येते ना? व्हॉट्सअपवर टाकतात ना? तुम्ही टेलिग्रामला नाहीत का? टेलिग्रामवर टाकणार ना? झालं काय? तुम्हाला युट्यूबची लिंक येते ना? व्हॉट्सअपवर टाकतात ना? टेलिग्रामवर टाकणार ना? झालं काय?
हो हो सर शार्प 1ला जॉईन झालं चालेल सर. एक वाजता सर शार्प 1 वाजता जॉईन होऊन जा सर. हो 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 सर शार्प 1ला जॉईन झालं हो 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 शार्प 1ला जॉईन झालं ह्या आवाज आपल्याला हेडफोन काढा ना. आवाज आला. इको तयार होते का?
बोला नाही सर, बोला बरं. बोला नाही सर, तुमचा आवाज कमी आहे.
हा आवाज येतोय?
हा येतोय.
क्लिअर येतोय? क्लिअर येतोय का?
हो क्लिअर आहे.
ओके. हा आवाज क्लिअर आहे सर माझा?
हो क्लिअर येते सर.
ओके ओके. माझा का?
क्लिअर येते सर आवाज.
ओके ओके. हा हॅलो. हो हो सर, जर नाही ऍड करून केलं जाईल तुम्हाला. नाही झालं तर YouTube वर गेले तरी चालेल. YouTubeची लिंक शेअर केली करतो लगेच ग्रुपवर. हा. ओके. कोणती? त्यांना पर्सन पाठवली. पर्सन त्यांना त्यांच्या व्हॉट्सअप ग्रुपवर पाठवली. दोघांना सकाळीच. नाही नाही व्हॉट्सअपला पाठवून देऊ सर व्हॉट्सअप. ओके. हॅलो. सुरू झालाय सर. तुम्ही टेलिग्राम ग्रुपवर जा ना, तिथे लिंक टाकलेली आहे, युट्यूबची टाकलेली आहे, मीची पण टाकलेली. हा हा. तुम्ही गडबड तुम्ही जॉईन व्हावं फक्त. हेलो 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 नहीं मीटिंग ऑन लॉक मीटिंग लॉक
हेलो हेलो
आजच राहिले हा व्हिडिओ आणि पांचाळ सरांना हे देतो मी हा मी इंट्रोडक्शन फक्त हे करणार आहे हो स्वागत सगळ्यांचं हॅलो काय परदेशी हॅलो
हॅलो सर.
हा परदेशी कॅन यू लिसन टू मी
येस येस सर.
Okay, now we are all right, and I will share my mobile with your principal.
येस सर.
ओके
Okay, now no problem.
ओके सर ओके.
Hello,
लक्ष
हा सर.
Akshay,
हा सर.
परदेशी
हा बोला सर. हा हा सर बोला
लक्ष
सर.
आवाज येतो
म्हटलं
का?
सर?
तुम्ही दिसताय मला दोघं. आवाज येतो का?
सर आवाज येतोय तुमचा. व्हिडिओ ऑन करा सर तुमचा.
ओके
येस येस
केला.
येस 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 सर. यू आर विजिबल नाउ.
आले सर आले.
माझा आवाज नीट clear आहे?
हा हॅलो सर.
हॅलो
आणि डिव्हाइस नाव तुमचं नाव आहे. हा पुन्हा सर व्ह्यू काय आहे?
हॅलो सर.
परदेशी सायन्स
Sir, shall we start
Vice
now?
Principal. Hello, बोला नहीं सर.
Sir, shall we start?
मला आवाज येतो तुम्हाला
सर
येतो.
सर तुमचा आवाज क्लिअर येतोय. सुरू करायचा का वर्कशॉप?
हॅलो.
हॅलो, आवाज येतोय सर तुमचा?
सुरू करा ना.
ओके ओके सर, ओके ओके.
Yes, sir.
All the participants are requested to mute themselves. Please mute. So a very good morning, a very good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Dr. K.P. Bhulane, and I welcome you all to this online one-day workshop on research methodology, organized under the UGC Scheme Stride Component First and MSP Mandal's Faculty Enrichment Program. Before starting the inaugural session, there is one important instruction that participants who can't join Zoom meeting may go YouTube Live. The link for YouTube Live is already shared on the Telegram and WhatsApp group. If you are on YouTube Live, please record your attendance by mentioning your name and affiliation in the comment box. Inaugurator of this workshop, Principal R.T. Deshmukh Sir, Principal of Vinayak Patil Mahavidyalaya, Dr. U.V. Panchal Sir, resource persons, Dr. Chakradhar Indurkar Sir, and Dr. Tara Korti Madam, research scholars, dear colleagues and friends. In this COVID-19 situation, the social distancing, online faculty development programs, seminars, and workshops are a very good medium of getting together through a platform for sharing and updating our knowledge. And so, Vinayak Patil College is organizing workshop in online mode through Zoom platform. This workshop gives an opportunity to the participants to update their knowledge on research methodology, particularly about qualitative research methodology and research ethics. Now I request Coordinator of Stride Scheme, Dr. S.D. Pardeshi Sir, to give introductory speech. Dr. S.D. Pardeshi Sir.
70 पार्टिसिपेंट आहे. तू पहिले जॉईन झालेली लई. तू जॉईन केलं, जॉईन झालं का? आपोआप जॉईन झालं. आपलं ऍक्च्युअली काय? हा.
Bolani sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. Honorable Shri Prakashji Solunke, President, Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Aurangabad. Honorable Shri Satishji Chauhan, Secretary, Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Aurangabad. Honorable Shri Krushi Bhushan Appasaheb Patil, Head College Development Committee, Vinayak Patil Mahavidyalaya. Honorable Principal Shri R.T. Deshmukh Sir, College Development Officer, Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Aurangabad. Honorable Principal Dr. U.V. Panchal Sir, Resource Person Dr. Chakradhar Indurkar and Dr. Tara Korti Ma'am, and all the dear participants. On the behalf of Organizing Committee, I welcome you to this one-day workshop on research methodology for Faculty of Commerce, Management and Social Sciences, organized under UGC Stride Component 1. As per the directives of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, our college has to conduct a faculty enrichment program for the commerce and management faculties. But as per the request of resource persons, we have included the faculties from social sciences also in this program. And this program is organized under UGC scheme Stride Component 1, Research Capacity Building. The main aim of this scheme is to build a research culture and research capacity in the young faculties, students, and research scholars. To fulfill this objective, today's workshop is organized on research methodology, as research methodology is a basic part of any research. And in the future, we are organizing 1 week faculty development program on research methodology as well as workshop lecture series related to research and other topics on this UGC Stride Component 1 scheme. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. I am on that. Our college is one among the 5 colleges from the state of Maharashtra to whom University Grant Commission sanctions Stride scheme. In the upcoming 3 years, the college is going to organize faculty development programs, training programs, student research projects, faculty research projects, workshops, and lecture series. This workshop is one of them. Now I request Principal Dr. U.B. Panchal sir to give welcome speech. Principal Dr. U.B. Panchal sir. Panchal sir.
माझा आवाज येतो का सर?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Good afternoon all. I am Dr. U.V. Panchal, Principal Vinayakrao Patil Mahavidyalaya, Vaijapur. It's my privilege to welcome all the dignitaries and resource person for 1 day online workshop on research methodology for the Faculty of Commerce and Management, organized by Department of Commerce of VP College Vaijapur with coordination by UGC Stride project. I am privileged to say that our college is one of the most excellent and having A grade in NAAC. It has excellent all type of resources, physical and academic. We are proud to say the college of Maharashtra. We all are working under banner of flagship of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, led by Honorable Prakash Dada Salunke as President and Honorable Satish Bhau Chauhan as Secretary. Vinayakrao Patil Vaijapur is led by Honorable Appointment Committee. At this, our mentor and guide R.T. Deshmukh sir, under whose able guidance, we are under different UGC schemes. Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal every year organizes faculty enrichment programs for faculties of Marathwada, not only Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal's colleges, but others also. This benefits to the faculty for enrichment and enhancement of their knowledge in the respective field. In the academic year 2020-21, MSP Mandal has assigned responsibility Patil College Vaijapur on that 1 day workshop on research methodology for the Faculty of Commerce and Management Science. Privilege to welcome at this occasion as an inaugural college development officer of resource person who is going to speak on qualitative research methodology, Dr. Chakradhar Baladev Endurkar, and on topic research ethics, Dr. Tara Koorti. This occasion, सांगून टाकायचं का? बोला ना सर.
Please continue, sir. Hello.
हॅलो,
Yes, sir.
आता देशमुख सर बोलणार आहेत ना?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, thank you, sir.
त्यांना इन्व्हाइट करा.
Yes, sir. Yes.
आहे तिथं.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Actually, the idea of online workshop came from the fertile mind of our principal, Dr. E.B. Panchal, sir. And Vinayakrao Patil Mahavidyalaya is progressing under his able and dynamic leadership. Now, it is my privilege to welcome an inaugurator of this workshop, Principal Dr. R.T. Deshmukh, sir, who is the College Development Officer of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal. And I should mention here that under his able guidance, 5 colleges not only received A grade by NAAC, but also improved their CGPA score. I request Principal Dr. R.T. Deshmukh, sir, to deliver his inaugural speech. Principal Dr. R.T. Deshmukh, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Respected Principal of Vinayakrao Patil College, Vaijapur, Dr. U.V. Panchal, Vice Principals, Dr. Pardeshi, Dr. Salunkhe, the organizers of today's workshop, Dr. Puri, Dr. Bholane, and the resource persons who are joining today from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and the participants from the colleges of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, as well as from other colleges from Marathwada and the outside areas. Friends, first of all, with great pleasure, I announce that this one-day workshop on research methodology stands inaugurated. It stands inaugurated. Friends, those who are pretty senior amongst you, they may remember this tradition of the Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, the tradition of faculty improvement program. Instead of calling it faculty improvement program, we call enrichment program today. Year 2000. Now, continuously for the last 20 years, faculty enrichment program has been going on every year. And there are changes. After some years pass away, we make certain notable changes. In the beginning, for 4 or 5 years, all the teachers in the Marathwada program was held gathering, very huge assembly of teachers. Later on, that practice changed. We split the teachers of MS Mandal into smaller groups. So we began to conduct subject-wise programs only. And each and every college was encouraged to conduct the program. From this year, you will note one more change. Now, instead of physically assembling together, coming together, online programs have been arranged. This is a notable factor in the faculty enrichment program of MSP Mandal this year. Online program. In this online program, each college is required to conduct 2 online programs in a year. One program for teaching, learning, evaluation, and one program for research methodology. For example, Vinayak Rao Patil College, Vaizapur is conducting one program on research methodology today. On some other day, it will also conduct one more program on teaching, learning, evaluation in the Faculty of Commerce. All right. The has proved to be more and more beneficial for our teachers. How? Today, Dr. Panchal has invited 2 eminent resource persons from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. They have been able to join because this is an online program. Had this been an resource persons might not have joined. So, coming back to caught up in our workshops. 1 month ago, our non-grant college, Vivekanand College, Paradi, that college also conducted faculty enrichment program for physical education. The teachers of physical education. And you may wonder, one vice chancellor of a sports university was a source person. So, this is our conducting online programs. We will check how far we are benefited, and definitely we are going to be. Every college in the MSP Mandal will get an opportunity to conduct 2 programs in a year. In the course of 5 years, the college is able to conduct 10 programs. And if you say, or if you write in your self-study report, in the last 5 years, the college has conducted 10 faculty enrichment programs. That becomes a very good point for the NAAC assessment. The NAAC peer teams are pleased to hear that our college faculty enrichment programs. So, by conducting online programs, we have say we have spent all the teachers, they had to travel to some college. At night, they had to go back. There were some female teachers. They were put to so many difficulties in traveling. This online conduct has spared all the teachers from this trouble. So this also is a notable point regarding this. Today's program is Vaizapur consciously because the principal not only belongs to the Faculty of Commerce and Management Science, but as we had worked together, still I remember, he was a notable teacher, a very talented teacher of commerce. And the MSP Mandal thought that this program may be conducted quite successfully in that only. The two programs has had these programs for teachers. In the first cycle of NAC, Vaizapur College had B+ grade. In the second cycle, A grade. In the third cycle, A grade with additional CGPA, that is 3.33. That is the CGPA of Vaizapur College. And next year, Vaizapur College will go for the fourth cycle. Let us express best wishes for Vinayakrao Patil College, Vaizapur, for its principal, for the staff of Vaizapur College, and let us participate in this one-day workshop wholeheartedly. Today's resource persons, they are coming from Tata Institute of Social Sciences. One is coming from Guwahati campus, Nagaland, and one is coming from Devnar, Mumbai. The topics which the college may have assigned or they might have selected on research ethics, the University Grants Commission, even the NAC, they have been laying down a great emphasis upon research ethics today. Such people utilizing crores and crores of rupees of grants, they also undertake some unfair means in research. That is really shameful. In languages, literature, there is plagiarism. In the field of commerce, there may be certain other unfair means. So this is a very fine topic for discussion today. Another topic is qualitative research methodology. I am not an authority on it. Today's resource person will give you or will provide you new insights. So I welcome the resource persons. I welcome all the participants from the MS Mandal's colleges and I wish a great workshop stand to be in.
Dr. Bolane sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Talking, sir.
Hello.
Thank you,
पुढे
sir.
प्रोग्राम कंटिन्यू करा तुम्ही आता.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ओके, ऑल द बेस्ट.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. You are always there for guiding us. I assure you that all the suggestions and instructions given by you will be duly followed. Your guidance is always valuable and inspiring for us. Thank you, sir. After this inaugural session, there will be two technical
तुम्ही
sessions.
ते स्क्रीन शेअर साठी अलाउ करा.
Technical section, Dr. Chakradhar Baldev Indurkar sir will be the keynote speaker. On behalf of our college, I welcome you, sir. He will guide us on qualitative research methodology. Before inviting him to talk, it is my duty to introduce him. Presently, Dr. Chakradhar Indurkar sir is working in social entrepreneurship at Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi Academy of Human Development, and Bokokchung district, Nagaland. His area of interest are entrepreneurship, livelihood and social exclusion. He acquired his PhD degree in 2018 from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. The objectives of his research were to know the challenges of third generation entrepreneurs from urban settings across the six industrial zones of Maharashtra, and to explore the economic, social, market, institutional and networking experiences while pursuing their entrepreneurial career. He is currently managing CSR projects funded by Amazon and Tata Power on social entrepreneurship, right to food, women empowerment and livelihood. He has specialized in key management activities like project management, monitoring and evaluation, data management, reporting and report writing, proposal writing for funding agency and corporate communication. He was a project manager for CSR project funded by BPCL and Henkel India, and as well as Center for Sustainable Environment and Development Initiatives, Mumbai. He published 5 research papers in reputed journals like SAG, that is SEC publication, and also presented 5 research papers in national and international conferences. So such an eminent personality is among us, and all of you are eager to hear him. So without taking much time, I request Dr. Chakradhar Baldev Indurkar sir to deliver his keynote address. Dr. Chakradhar Baldev Indurkar sir. Please, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Someswarji, for my introductions. Respected dignitaries, senior faculty members, young faculty members, scholars, and all. Very good afternoon to all. So, without much discussing on that, so let me start my presentations. So we will discuss as per that. I had discussion with Mr. Sandeep ji. He assigned me that on the qualitative research and particularly on the case study methodology. Okay, so I will start. Let me allow to share the screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, please start sharing your screen.
Host disable the participants screen sharing. That's it. So you have, if it is possible, that will good actually for the all participants. They can see, they can read the slides and they can understand, they can make the notes out of that. Otherwise I will go with the simple presentation. Okay, allow me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, sir.
It is working now.
Yes.
So all the respected faculty members and the research scholars, can you see the slide on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, okay. So in between, I can unmute my camera for sake of this network issue, right? So as long as it is there, then you can see me as well. So let's start. So shall we go? The first thing is, am I audible to all? Yes or no? Just raise your hand and say yes.
Yes, sir, audible.
Yeah, good, great. Okay. So, and kindly unmute your mic. Dear all the participants, please unmute your mic because then the disturbance will not be there. Okay. So let's start with the research methodology. Okay. So my focus today's lecture focus is on the case study analysis and the case study method in the qualitative research. So let's begin. So I will give some brief background about the why one should have to go for the research. And since I have the social sciences background, so I will deal with the social sciences example. Of course, I will deal with some science examples. Let's see. So we will start our presentation. I will start my presentation with the question that why one should have to study the research methodology. And I will follow the participative mode rather than the traditional mode of the lecture. So all I have to participate. Okay. So why one should have to study the research methodology, particularly the social science scholars or the faculty or the domain experts from the social sciences or the development sector or those are into the profession like the policy making. So why one should have to study the research methodology? Let's start with this inquiry. Anybody can comment on this? If you have that if you have some insights on this, then you can share. Then we can go. It will help us to move ahead. Okay, no problem. So why research methodology? Why one should have to study the research methodology? Yeah, it is for the investigation or for some innovation. In the terminology of innovation is often used in the science and technology, the physical sciences. We often in day-to-day must learn through the many from the many platforms. The innovation has been going on. There's something like, for example, nowadays that across the globe, across the world, the research is going on the COVID-19 vaccine, right? And it is likely to be appear in the market in upcoming days. We are expecting that it will appear in the 2021. The world is desperately waiting for that. So often whenever we are interested to know something, that is, we often call that in a layman language, that is investigation. It starts with the inquiry, the regime with the questions. When methodology will appear, any research methodology will appear. When you start raising the question, when you start the inquiry, when you are willing to know something which is not known to anyone, then that the methodology play a very crucial role in that. So what is research methodology in fact? Is it's a simply investigation or need to know approach, or it is beyond that? In a layman language, in simple words, particularly in social science domains, research, social science research methodology, it's a science of social sciences. To know the complexity of the society, to know the phenomena, to the betterment of the society, or to frame the new policies, or to build the argument. So that's why we require the methodology, research methodology. So simply, if you are following the investigation approach, just like there is one serial, very famous serial. I don't know what is the name of that serial. Particularly, that their name is there. They often do the investigation. Are they following the research methodology? Manish ji, please unmute your mic. Okay, thank you. So, for example, if you want to explore, if you want to purchase certain some property in your region, so you will explore. So you will explore to whom? What you will explore on that if you want to purchase certain property. For example, if you want to purchase a flat, then what you will do? You will investigate things. You will approach to builder. You will approach to government agency, expert, lawyer. You will check all the possible way. You will check the all possible way whether the property is legal or illegal, or whether this property have its worth. What you are going to purchase that. That is there. For example, in case of property, whether it is NA plot, whether it is coming with the NA build, what is the FSO of that particular city, how come I build, like that. So many questions you can raise if you are serious buyers of the property, if you are looking for the property. So this is the investigation. So in fact, this is not the investigation can be departure point in the research. But it cannot be the ultimate. You can't reach the right conclusion or the right decision with the approach of investigation or need to know approach. In fact, it is a very risky strategy. In fact, it is a very risky strategy because it does not involve the methodology, right? So whatever you learn while doing the investigation, you learn through the agreement realities. What is that agreement realities? Which is come through your networks or come through whatever the agreement, or whatever the community know or whatever your friend circle know, that comes to you. It may not true or it may be true. The probability are there. So the agreement reality is that's come through the culture which is around you. That is agreement reality. So the simply following the investigation approach, that will not help you to reach the conclusion, right? Maybe or may not be. Most probably may not, because there is no methodology involved in that. There is no certain scientific processes being involved in that in your investigation. So, okay. So let's come to further following the investigation approach or need to know approach. So to know the reality of any phenomena or any complexity, it is a tricky business actually. It's a tricky business. Whenever you will come to some conclusion, it may not be it may not be concurrent or validate. You can't be communicate. If you communicate, then it can be interpreted in a other way as well. So then we will come to the scientific inquiry rather than the as usual inquiry. That is scientific inquiry. That's follow the particular design, the particular methods. So the methodology is nothing but the process of finding the truth or explore the phenomena. That's simple as that. Then why one should ask to why the research methodology importance? What does it make sense actually in the real life or in the academic life? So the research methods always followed by the trained social scientists or the social professionals. So why the research methodology importance? To sensitize ourselves, to sensitize other. Sensitize means you making aware about the phenomena or the reality which is exist in the society. To whatever the research exists, so many research theses you must have been observed in your library. So that particular research is say something about this particular phenomena. So the research methodology is very important in terms of to make a sensitize. That research methodology provide you what to do or what not to do, do's and don't do's. Okay, while pursuing some new research in new domain or within that domain, it will give you the clear cut idea about how one should has to go with that particular problem. Okay, so it gives the clear cut directions that what should has to be done and what should not to be done. Then that the inquiry or that the research will be very communicable. Okay, research methodology also provide the insights about the process. Yes, someone has said something. Okay, the research methodology provides some insights about the process, how that the earlier research was being conducted, or how that the research was being carried in the setting, carry forward in the settings, and what is the findings of that particular research. So that could be the departure point for the research or the new research, ideally. So rather than after the sensitizing, making providing insights, it gives you the clear-cut map, the clear-cut idea about what can be done, what should not be done in the research while pursuing any research. And which has been built based on your findings that can be transferable. Means you can communicate to the other community or the domain people. You can communicate, and nobody can raise the question in that case that your finding or your argument, your suggestion be accepted by across the globe if you follow the research method rather than layman investigation. Right. So in short, the research methodology help you to learn about the real life examples. Okay, then now I will come to the points of the science versus social sciences, since the participants from the mixed group, the commerce background, science background, and the social science background. So my focus will be on the social sciences. Still, I will try to jot it down the line between science and social sciences. So whenever the matters come to the research, whenever people used to talk about the research, so people oftenly go with that, yes, this is a physical science or the natural sciences. Physical science means chemistry, physics, natural sciences, environmental science and all. They follow the certain method. So all the theory exists, all the concept theories are being followed by this physical scientist. We often call the scientists. So those who are dealing with the social science, we call them the social scientists. For example, let's take if I'm saying that the H2, let's take an example of water, H2O, 2 molecules of hydrogen, 1 molecules of oxygen. The combination of 2 at a certain condition, it creates a water, right? If I'm saying that the water change its stage from liquid to vapor at the 100 degrees centigrade. If I'm saying like this is my statement. Then how come I will prove that? I have to perform some method. Okay, I will get the apparatus, some waters, and then spirit lamp. Then I will heat up to 100 degrees centigrade. Then I will put some thermometer or the thermostat to measure the temperature, and then I will see the state, whether the water has changed its state at the 100 degrees centigrade or not. So in the sciences, in the pure science, okay. So in case of, if you come to the social science, in a science, it deals with the object, majorly deals with the object. It is performed in the laboratory mostly. It is go with the empirical observation. But if you come to the social reality, why the farmer committing suicides? Reality. Then how will you test? How will you prove that? It has to be, it is difficult when matters come to the society. Social science always deal with the society. Society itself a dynamic in the nature. The things will not remain the same as it is today. It may change, and it will change. That is why it is a dynamics in the nature. Society itself a dynamics in nature. So it is the approach, the scientific approach, which is followed in the science, which may not, it is quite difficult to apply in the social science phenomena, right? So simply we can say the science follow some characteristics, some features through on the line of logical inquiry or with some empirical observations, right? Just take an example of water. So one has to prove that the water change its state from liquid to vapor at the 100 degrees centigrade. I mean, he has to follow the certain logical inquiry or follow the certain process and observe the empirical observations. Then he can say, yes, it's true. It is proven. But in social sciences, while operating in the society or dealing with the human nature, behavior, so it goes with the theory. It goes involvement for what? Data collections and then data analysis. Whatever the data you will collect from the field, and then we will interpret with the theory, that is the data analysis. Then you will argue, you build your argument. Yes, this is the reality, or this is the phenomena which I explored through the methodology. So then you have to perform certain process or methodology. Okay. Then I will not discuss much on that because I have to focus on the research methodology, right? So what are the stages? Now I come to what are the stages in the research, as we discussed in the case of water. Okay, if someone wants to prove that the water change its state at 100 degrees centigrade, so one has to follow the stages to prove that. The same thing which is appear in the social science research, in the social sciences. So the major stages, major stages in the research. It is applicable to all social sciences as well as the science and technology. So the major stages are that stage 1, the literature review. The literature, why? Why literature review? The second stage is concept and theories. Third is raising the questions. Fourth is the sampling. Fifth is the data collection. Sixth is the data analysis. These are the broad stages in the research. And then you will do the thesis writing or the dissertation writing or report writing, whatever. So, why one should have to go for the literature review? To learn, to sensitize ourselves, to learn about the phenomena or the existing reality which has been known by the others. That is why one has to go for the literature review. Then you will learn the, so you do the critical examination of the phenomena. Yes, once this many people have done the research on this segment or this area or this problem, and this they are saying like this, you will come to this certain conclusion. This is very essential component, literature review. If I'll explain with that, let's say for example at informal level, if you want to know whether they are enjoying the all the labor laws or not, so you have to learn that. You have to aware about the decent work. You have to aware about the labor legislations. Then you will come to the conclusion, yes, in the reality, the labor enjoying the employment benefits or not, that is there. Okay, then you will, after that, doing the extensive survey of literature, you will learn, you will choose, you will focus on particular concept and theory which are applicable for your focus or your inquiry. And based on that, based on your understanding, you raise the questions. Yes, this has to be explored or need to be explored. Then you raise the question. Yes, I want to know this answer of these questions. Then you raise the question, and that research questions define the research methodology broadly. That define your objective of the research. That define your agenda of the research. Then you follow whether you will go for the qualitative research, you will go for the quantitative research, or you will go for the mixed methodology approach. It's depend on your research question. That define that is the core of your research. That will define the further process of your research. Then what you will go? You will follow some methodology. Then you will go for the sampling. Okay. Since you are, for example, you are into the academics, and if you want to research on, let's say, COVID-19 affected patients, COVID-19 victims. So there are the number of the victims in the millions. So as an individual researcher, or you are into the academics, it is not feasible in terms of the cost, in terms of the time. So you will follow the sampling. You will choose, you will select the representative sample from the population. So you will follow some criteria or the logic behind the selecting the sample. Then, as per your objective of the research, you will go for the data collections. You will actually immerse in the field and you will collect the data through interview, through observation, through structured interview schedule, to unstructured interview schedule, or from the secondary sources of the informations or the secondary data. Let's say record, template, videos, so many things are there with the secondary sources. Then after collecting data, you will analyze the data with your understanding what you have learned through the literature review, what the theory and the concept you have learned, you are following in your research. You will analyze the data and then you will come to the conclusion. You will discuss, you will go for the discussion and the conclusion, and also sometime for the recommendations basis on your observation. So these are the broad stages involved in the any type of research, but particularly the social science research. That is the point. Now, I hope you got the idea of research methodology, research method. The term the research method. It is nothing but it's a technique. It's a simply technique and to collect the data using the specific instrument. That is the research methodology. Now, so we start our discussion with the one approach, that is investigation approach, or no, there are the approaches that is the research, that is called the research design in the research, in a social science research particularly. Okay, that is the framework. So broadly there are these 5 research designs are there, that is called the framework, that the researcher is to follow this certain framework. So these are the experimental design, the survey design, the longitudinal design, the case study design, and the comparative design. Okay, I will not brief on much on this, but still I will try to give you some idea about this. So what is that experimental design? So experimental design follow in that particular research where that the inquiry is to be followed. Means want to know something what's happened with the one factor. For example, the impact of the new reforms or the policy. Okay, let's say for example of new educational policy. Okay, if you want to learn about that, what is the impact or what is the discussion around that new economic education, new education policy 2020, then you have to follow the experimental design. Another example is that PDS system, public distribution system. So far the present government has ensured that the millions of poor people will get the ration till the, I guess, December through the PDS system. So if you want to learn that, what is the impact, what is the effectiveness of that ambitious scheme of this government, whether it is been executed properly or really it is benefited to the beneficiary or not, then you have to follow the experimental design. So experimental design follow the inquiry, the impact. Okay, then survey design, and that follow the experimental design always go with the quantitative research. And if you are talking about the quantitative research, means you have to follow the quantitative methodology. Means you have to perform the statistical operations or statistical methods to learn to interpret the data, right? Then there is one survey design. It is equally applicable, qualitative as well as the quantitative methodology. Okay, so it follows the observation, content analysis, and statistical official statistics, just like census survey. This is a part of survey design. It follows the survey design. It follows the quantitative methodology too, because they are dealing with the numbers. For example, in National Family Health Survey, it's oftenly conducted by the International Institute for Population Sciences in the period of 5 years, and it is gradually happen. So they follow the survey designs with some certain objective. Then longitudinal, then another research design is that the longitudinal design that also follow the quantitative as well as the quantitative method approach. It is a survey and again survey. Means, for example, if you study the learning curve of the school going children in 2020, what is the learning curve of the school going children from the slum? And you did the survey, household survey or you visit the schools in 2020, and you will come to know that certain phenomena or the certain challenges or the certain aspects through your household survey or the surveying going with the school going children in 2020. And if you want to after 3 to 5 years or after next in 2021, next year, if you want to know whether these kids have the improve their learning ability or not, then you have to go again same research, that is a longitudinal research. It's happened it is repeated research at one point and other point, as simple as that. Then is the case study design, that is core research design of the qualitative research, because it deals with the emotions, feelings, opinion and experiences. Okay, so whenever you want to learn the something in-depth understanding of the phenomena or the any case particular case or the single case or the multiple case, then the case study research design is to be employed or is to be followed in the social science research. For example, entrepreneurs, if you want to learn in depth, for example, if you have observed that some community, let's say NTD community, we have the perception that these people are being migrate from one place to another place. But if you observe that at some point of time that some entrepreneurs are emerging from that community, so you will follow the case study. You will select that the particular case, and in order to learn the in-depth understanding about that the particular case, how come that the entrepreneurs has emerged from that disadvantaged community? What is the reason? What is the motivation behind that? Then definitely you will go for the case study design, right? So this is I will focus much on this case study design in next presentation. So another approach is that the comparative design, that's follow the multiple research methodology, that is the mixed methodology. It's depend on the nature of your research, the agenda of the research. It's depend on your objective of the research. Whatever the questions are, the questions raised by your research depends on that. So the some objective may not be for fetch with the quantitative methodology. So you have to employ the qualitative research, and some objective can be fetched with the quantitative method. So it is comparative design is always follow with the multiple methods and multiple mode of inquiry. That's simple. So the idea was the idea of discussing this all for 5 design. It will require too much time to discuss each and every research design. So still to give you broad idea exactly what is the research design in the social sciences particularly, and which design can lead to the research, which research methodology has to be employed while pursuing any research, right? So that was the idea. So let's come to the broadly there are broadly there are 2 research methodology in social sciences. One is quantitative research, another is qualitative research. So I try to contrast or try to distinguish between 2 methodology, qualitative research as well as quantitative research. Let's follow the one by one, and then we will move to the actual lecture. So the quantitative research deals with the numbers, whereas qualitative research will deal with the number. Words means opinion, feelings. How means suppose you probe the question to your respondents, how you are feeling with the COVID-19 situation. how to calculate in the numbers. So qualitative research deal with the numbers, emotions, feelings, observations. That is simple. Quantitative research, followed by the point of view of researchers. It is being in a quantitative research. Mostly the researchers used to be follow his view. He carry forward his view. And in case of the qualitative research, research used to be unbiased. He follow the normative stand. So he go with the participant research, participant views, whatever the insights come from the respondent or from the field. He follow that perspective. Then next quality of the quantitative research, the researcher is to be distant. Okay, he can sit. He is to be at the distance. He never is to be emerge as such, because he is dealing with the numbers, data from one source, data from another source. Then he contrast or compare, and then he come to some conclusion. So in the both the case, he is not been involved so far in the research. But in case of qualitative research, he has to be involved. He has to be participate. He has to be follow the participative observations. He is to merge. Let's say, for example, of ethnographic study. Ethnographic study always go with the culture, study of the culture, study of the particular community. Let's say, for example, the matrilineal community from the Meghalaya. If you want to learn about that community, which is not prevalent across the India, so far we into the patriotic society. Okay, so this is unique culture. This is unique traditions which exist in India. That particularly in the Meghalaya, that is on the southern hill of the Meghalaya. The Khasi community follow the matrilineal society. It has its own features. It have its own culture, own practice. So since you are being from Aurangabad, so if you want to really interested to learn, then what you will do? You have to visit. You have to emerge. You have to stay with the community, at least for the 6 months. Then you will be able to learn about that particular community. So that is the role. Means in the qualitative research, the researcher used to be close with the research. He used to be involved. Then matters come to the theory testing. Okay. So in the qualitative research, always whatever theory exists, whether it is into the pure science or the social science, it is always been criticized or the tested in time to time. It is happening. Okay. So many theories has been nullified in course of time, and it is also equally happening in the social sciences as it is happening in the pure sciences. So the major aim of any quantitative research is to be testing the theory, whether it is that theory is working or not. Let's say, for example, in management, the principle of Lehman, it talk about the biasness of the particular individual towards the particular community. Okay, so we can often observe in India, still some community could not able to enjoy their life, or they could not able to access the even secular spaces like hospital and this and that, on the line of cultural status or the social status. Okay, so in case of the qualitative research, it create a theory. Theory comes through the based on the data. Okay, so that is called the inductive approach, when it start with the observation and moving toward the theory. And in quantitative research, it start with the theory and goes with the conclusion. That is a inductive and deductive approach. Okay, so in qualitative there are the features. In a quantitative, they follow the statistics. In qualitative, they follow the process. Certain process has to be followed or has to be employed in a qualitative research. Then you will in the position to collect the data. are to know to in a position to face the answer of your research question, right? So in quantitative research you can generalize your statements. Okay, for example, I am saying that the GDP growth of India is performing negative, that is 19 point something, means I am generalizing my statement and it will be applicable to all the cities of India. How I come generalize this? How I come to the at this position to generalize the GDP of India is performing negatively performing, means I has to perform certain statistical analysis. I will follow this certain number. I will go with this official data, and then I will come to the conclusion that the GDP of India is negatively performing. Okay. So in case of qualitative research, it's contextualizing the understanding the phenomena. Okay. So I can't simply say like that. If my, for example, I want to learn about the plights of the laborers in COVID-19 situation, what they have been experienced in the course of 6 months. So I will come to know from the through the participation, engaging with the respondents, those have been victim of this COVID-19 situations. Then I will build my argument. So whatever the argument will be there, I will propose, I will carry forward my argument. It will be the contextualize. Okay, contextualize. If I am pursuing my research in the Aurangabad, so that will be contextualized with the Aurangabad. So the same thing could not be in Nagpur. Maybe there could be difference in terms of magnitude, in terms of nature, right? So I'm trying to sum up these two methodology parallelly. What is the nature of the both the method, qualitative and the quantitative research? Okay, so it will help you to locate yourself which methodology can be useful for your research, which method you can employ. Okay, so a quantitative research deal with the hard and reliable data which is available with the official facts and figures. Okay, for example, National Crime Bureau. Okay, the crime rate has increased in Aurangabad. How will you say like this? You can't make a sarcastic statement. It will have the negative impression. But if you have the hard data, or if you have the reliable data like the National Crime Bureau, then you can say like this. But in terms of the qualitative research, you are dealing with the reality. So the rich data means you actually involve and you come to know the insights which is not been aware by the others, and even the researchers don't know that the reality. So that is a deep rooted data. For example, ethnographic data which come through the observation in the course of observation. Ideally, if you following the ethnographic research, so ideally you used to have be in the field for at least for the 6 months. Like for example, John Bremen, the footloose labor, his research is footloose labor, is famous. So he was in he was staying with the tribe from the Gujarat, and at some point of time he also married some tribal girl in order to learn the society. So that is a deep, rich data he has collected in the course of time. Okay, then then we will come to the behavior, and the quantitative research deal with the behavior. Okay, so for example, the behavior in the sense, if you are following the management approach, let's say market research. What is that market research? Is always go with the what is the behavior of the customers, and based on that the corporate used to define their what it called marketing strategy, right? So they follow the numbers. And in case of qualitative research, it go with the meaning. Okay, and quantitative research follow the artificial settings, means whatever the data exists through the different sources, it can be done on the table. It could be carry forward on desktop research, but in terms of the qualitative research, it follow the natural setting. You have to deal with the society in the reality. It follow the natural settings. I hope so ki by contrasting to the research methodology, that this two domain itself require too much time to learn. I hope so ki you got this some picture about what is the difference between the qualitative and quantitative research. It will help you to select the appropriate method for your research, particularly in social science research. That is the point of discussion. So I will have some any doubts so far. Then I will start qualitative research. Anybody can raise the question right now. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Anybody can raise the questions. Directly unmute your mic and then raise the question if you have. Otherwise, I will follow the next presentation. I unmute my camera because of the network connectivity issue, so it will for time being.
Please continue, sir.
No questions so far?
No, sir. Not yet.
So far, I assume that you are following me, okay? And since it is a large group, so it cannot be respond to all. But if you have the queries, then just simply ask me. Okay.
There is one question in chat box, sir.
Chat box. Okay. Is there question?
Is any difference between both in data collection point of views as well? From Nikhil Patil.
Chart. Then I have to stop my screen, then I can see, I guess. That is not appearing to me. Control.
Sir, Nikhil Patil is asking that is there any difference between data collection point of view in qualitative or quantitative research?
Data collection, yes.
Yes.
Patil ji, it's nice questions about that, whether it is there is a difference between the qualitative data collection or the quantitative data collections. As we discussed we were discussing our difference between the qualitative and quantitative. The simple terminology is that the quantitative research deal with the numbers, qualitative research deal with the words. So if you want to collect the numbers, then you can collect from the primary as well as the secondary sources. But ideally, in a quantitative research, the data, the numbers data, oftenly fetch or the collect from the secondary sources as compared to the qualitative research. But in case of the data collection in quantitative, if you are dealing with the words, then you have to merge in the field. That is the difference. It's not mean that while pursuing the qualitative research means you should not get into the field. Yes, you should have to be in the field if the research demands. Let's say if you are doing some NFHS kind of survey, so you will cover the states. You cover the entire state. Then that is also in both the case, in both the research for the data collection need to be merged into the field. So depend on the nature of your study, what you want to know. It's a depend on the objective of the research. So you simply do not assume that the in case of quantitative research you should not get into the field. Yeah, it's not true. You are also required to get into the field. Let's say on survey research, or the market research in management, or the longitudinal research. If you want to say that statistical, if you want to make your statement, generalize your statement, then you have to perform some numerical operations, means you require the numbers. For example, I don't know, but today's Times of India has published some survey. I hope so you also receive the same in your city. You got the point. I hope so. I respond your answer question. In a simple way, in a layman language, in terms of quantitative data collection, you have to have the emerge into the field extensively as compared to the quantitative research. But you can't say, you can't say like that. There is no participation, there is no field immersion in quantitative research. Got the point? Yes. Any question? Shall we go, sir? Hello. Pardesi ji, shall we go? Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. You are
Yes, yes, yes. So we can carry forward. Okay. So we already discussed this component of the qualitative research at broader level so far. It cannot be possible to learn that the qualitative research or quantitative research in 1 or 2 hours. It requires, you have to invest or devote much time on this, and reading is required, right? So we will now focus on the qualitative research, then I will come to their case study analysis, right? Yes, anybody have the questions? Okay. So what we already discussed that the quantitative research always emphasis on the words rather than the numbers, quantification. Okay, in terms of data collection and in terms of the data analysis.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, will you please continue the meeting 15 minutes?
15 minutes.
Yes, sir. The second technique.
Yeah, please.
I'm waiting for the next lecture.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Yes, I will go.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Okay, so we already discussed this component of about the qualitative research. Okay, so the qualitative research always follow the words rather than the numbers. It to try to establish or to know the relations between the existing reality and the theory. Okay, so so what is the what are the stages in the qualitative research? We will come to that point. So openly that we already discussed this point while discussing the stages in the research, the research question, then research setting, and the data collection, then data analysis, and the conceptualization theory, and the last part is the conclusion and writing. So the how we will raise the questions. It is a depend on the how you have learned through the literature review. Then you will able to raise the question appropriately, and based on that your research question and objective, you will define your research setting, where you want to collect the data, how you will going to collect the data. There should be a criteria. There is to be a logic to select the research setting. Simply you cannot go any settings and you will collect the data. Otherwise that will not be a research. Means you will not achieve the aim and objective of your research. Then you will involve into the data collection, right? and then and you employ the research methodology to collect the data, and you discuss your data, actual data, which is you have been collected from the field, and you discuss with the existing theory or as per your understanding, and you do the writing, right? So in a qualitative research, while doing the analysis, wherever the researcher feel that there should be there is a need of further data collection, or there is a need of to reframe the objective of the research question as per the field reality, it is possible in the qualitative research. That is called in iteration, or whatever the research question earlier, it may not be continue, or it can be alter, or it can be changed in the qualitative research. That is the picture of the qualitative research. So I will not discuss much on this, what is the triangulations and the theory and the research. Ideally, in the qualitative research, it is a testing of the theories, or to check the theories. The aim of any qualitative research is that to create a theory, new theory. It follow the inductive approach. It starts with the observation, it starts with the inquiry. And most probably in the qualitative research, triangulation is to happen. It's depend on the research objective, on the research question, what you want to inquire. So the multiple method or multiple observational methods has to be employed. That is called the triangulation. So what is the aim of what should be the criteria for the qualitative research? So broadly, I will discuss this sensitivity. To create a sensitivity, it required the rigor or the commitment, rigor involvement in the field, and the commitment of the research in order to get the rich data. It is also follow the certain research method or the research process as per the objective of the research, in order to maintain the transparency. Researchers is to be follow the normative stand in order to maintain the transparency. And if you are following the transparency in your research, then it can be transferable. It can be communicable to all. Okay, nobody can raise the question. It should not be done. It should not be like that. And the qualitative research have the quality of the importance and the significance. So whatever the research used to be happen in the domain of the qualitative research, particularly, it has their significance in terms of policy making, in terms of the Supreme Court judgment, and all the qualitative research and the case studies being be referred and discussed, and always quote while giving the judgment in the Supreme Court, or in while defining the policy design, right? So this is the criteria. Now I will come to the case study method. So the basic idea of this case study research method, that is the core of qualitative research. Mostly in the qualitative research, the case study research design is to be employed, and it is much popular in the social science domain. So it is the case study research design always go with the explorations or the explanation about the social reality or the social phenomena. It is a comprehensive strategy in terms of the research. It is a very comprehensive strategy in a qualitative research. So there are based on the nature of the research, there are the types of the case studies are there. The single case study method, multiple case study method, right? And the intrinsic case study method. For example, in a single instrumental case study, if you want to learn the phenomena or the social reality, for example, rape victim, you can't expect that the multiple victims will be there in the society. That is unique case. Means there are the rare cases used to be there in the society. Hathras case, for example, right now, TRP case of that Republic TV. So in order to learn that what is the unique behind that the TRP. So you will follow the one case. So thoroughly you will learn about that case study. That is called the single case study analysis, single case study approach in qualitative research. As being a researcher, you will explore that case study thoroughly and depth in a very deeper sense to build your argument, what you want to learn or what you want to explore. You will explore that the case study and then you will come to some conclusion. Second type of the case study is that the collective case studies. In case if you want to learn certain what it called, if you want to learn the different perspective of the particular phenomena which exist in the society, which you have been observing, then you have to follow the multiple cases. You have to collect the multiple cases from the field, and in order to select the multiple cases, you have to follow the certain logic. There is to be methodology, which sampling you has been using. Most probably in case of the case study method, selecting the multiple case studies, the purposive sampling is to be followed. Depends on the nature of the study. For example, there is a huge debate on the Dalit capitalism, right? So by studying a simple entrepreneurs from the Dalit community, you can't say like that the Dalit capitalism is existing in the Maharashtra or let's say in Aurangabad. So you has to have go with the multiple cases from Aurangabad region itself, whether they are operating in the service segment, whether they are operating in the manufacturing segment, like that. Then you can, after collecting the data, then you will come to know that you can build your argument very effectively as comparing following the single case study. That is why the multiple case study is there. And third type is that intrinsic case study. It is very unique. Okay, so if some phenomena or some case it is have the uniqueness which is not mostly prevalent in the society, you can't observe in the society oftenly, which cannot be in a general way. So in such a case, that could be intrinsic case study, means you has to involve around that the single case study. For example, you must have the seen that the Tare Zameen Par, that the student has facing the challenge in the learning, the problem of dyslexia. Okay, so the entire movie is moving around the one single case. So it is happening what you want to learn. For example, HIV/AIDS victim. So you will come to know that how that the HIV/AIDS patients is facing the social trauma. What is the psychological trauma around that his disease, right? So ideally in a case study method, you have researcher has to have first select the appropriate case study following the certain logic and the certain based on the certain understanding. This is the key criteria in the case study method. So the identification is a crucial component in a case study research method, particularly in the qualitative research. In order to learn the holistic, in order to learn much in deeper sense in holistic understanding about the particular phenomena or the particular case. Okay. So for example, if you for example, if you are looking for if you want to learn about why the farmers are doing suicides, what is the reason, what are the dynamics behind that, who is sole responsible, who is what are the causes. So being researchers, you definitely go with the purposive sampling. You will select the who has been committed suicide, the farmer. You will select the particular farmers. You try to learn that. So the selection of the case is very significant and very crucial aspect in the case study research method. There has to be have certain criteria or certain logic in order to select the case study. Okay. Oftenly in this process, the purposive sampling is to be used. Now we will come to this data analysis component of the case study. How the data analysis done with the case study. Often whenever you are following the case study methods, means you have to follow. You are going with the multiple observation, participative observation, thick description, very in-depth interview, much communication with the respondent is to be there. So if you are following, if your focus is on a particular case, so you will follow, you will try to learn the entire case holistically. That is called the holistic analysis, the thoroughly analysis. You try to learn thoroughly. Let's say, for example, a social entrepreneurs from the Aurangabad. If you want to learn how that the social entrepreneurs are emerging in the Aurangabad, so you will follow. So you will set the criteria. Who is the social entrepreneurs and how is operating, where is from, what are the challenges, what is the motivation behind that. So you will move around even single case study. That is the holistic analysis in a case study analysis. Now then you will come to the embedded analysis. Means you will focus on particular aspect of that particular case study. Let's, for example, the farmer suicide. The reason behind the farmer suicide is not single reason is there. There are the multiple reasons, maybe psychological, political, economical, whatever it may be. There are the multiple reasons that leads to the suicide of the farmer. Means they are unfortunately they go for the suicide. So, for example, you assume that the date is the prime reason or the major player in the farmer suicide. So you will focus on the date. Why they are into the date, where they are availing the financial support and how much they are paying, like that. So you will move around the only date. So that is called the embedded analysis. Now third point is the thematic analysis. In a thematic analysis, you will, if you are going multiple case studies, so you will, some themes will be emerged out of this multiple through the out of the multiple case studies while analysis. Okay, so in order to learn the complexity of the phenomena or the social reality, you will go with the thematic analysis. What kind of themes has been emerged, which is not to be known to others. So we will focus on themes. Let's try to learn with the some examples based on my PhD research, right? Then you will go for the case analysis. You will discuss the case by case, one case A, case B. You will thoroughly discuss a detailed description of some individual case number 2, case number 3, like that. Then you will do the cross case analysis. You will compare with the Aurangabad case with the case from the Nagpur. That is a cross case analysis. So what is the idea within the holistic case study analysis, or within the case study analysis, cross case analysis and the thematic analysis, the entire gamut of the case study analysis, that you are focusing on the holistic understanding of the phenomena or the social problem in the society, right? So I will conclude with that, with few examples, and that is based on my the research which you have learned while introduction about myself. So in my PhD research, the description has been discussed. The each case study has been discussed, and the cases were selected from the Nagpur, Amravati, Nashik, Aurangabad, Pune, and Mumbai. Okay, so thoroughly the each case has been discussed. The 12 case study has been collected from the 6 industrial zones. Okay, and then after doing the descriptive analysis of the single individual case, of completing all 12 cases, the themes has been emerged. Okay, what could be what themes have been emerged? My focus was on Dalit entrepreneurs. So what is the motivation? What is the role of the native place? What is their market experience? What is their social experience while operating in the market? These themes have been emerged. So it depends on contest to contest. Whatever the experiences has been done, experienced by the entrepreneurs from Aurangabad, which is not similar with the entrepreneurs from the Nagpur or from the Nashik. Okay, so then I carry forward the cross case analysis. The one case from Aurangabad and one case from the Nashik has been cross examined, the cross analysis. What does it make sense? Means what if I will fix the variable, let's say caste, let's say subcaste, so I will I will learn that whether that the caste or the cultural position make any difference while being entrepreneurs in the market, right? I hope so you have I hope so you understood the case study analysis and the case study method in the qualitative research. So this was my presentations. Thank you so much. And if you have the question and queries, please raise your questions, then I can respond. So I will stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So Dr. Chakradhar Indurkar sir started his
yes
with the question, why research methodology? You stressed on how it is important for scientific inquiries as well as investigation in terms of do's and don'ts, insight and sensitization. You detailed out the stages in research methods, difference between quantitative and qualitative research, and also the different types of case studies. Your talk was informative and would definitely benefit the participants. We would like to hear you again in the upcoming 5 days faculty development program on research methodology. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time with us and for sharing your research experiences, particularly in terms of case studies. Thanks once again, sir. Now,
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Now in the second technical session, we have with us Dr. Tara Kurti ma'am. On behalf of our college, I welcome you, ma'am. She will address us on research ethics. Before inviting her to talk, I should introduce her. Dr. Tara Kurti, ma'am, is an assistant professor at Tata Institute of Social Science, Mumbai. She has a PhD in social work. She is a trainer of research ethics. She has expertise in community organizing, project planning, monitoring and evaluation, qualitative research methodology. Prior to joining Tata Institute of Social Sciences, she was working in the development sector. So I would not like to stand between you and her. So I request Dr. Tara Kurti ma'am to deliver her talk on research ethics. Dr. Tara Kurti ma'am.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome and the introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am, please check your audio connections, please. Not sounding properly.
My audio is not clear.
Yes.
Am I clear to the participants now? Audio is okay?
Yes, you are audible.
thank the Department of Commerce and Economics. I would like to thank the Department of Commerce and Economics for inviting me for this session. Thank you, all of you who are present. It gives me great pleasure to give this talk on research ethics. And I think, keeping in mind the current pandemic situation, a talk about research and a talk about research ethics becomes very important for all of us who are in the field of social sciences. Before I actually start discussing on research ethics, I would like to spend a few minutes discussing on what the pandemic situation, foreground the pandemic situation and what it means for us as researchers and what are some of the key trends that we are seeing in the larger environment. We all know that social science research in the Indian context has substantially contributed to various issues. For example, if we look at issues of Dalits, how to study tribals, indigenous populations, feminist issues, the social science research has been very robust, rigorous, and substantial, and it has helped us understand various social problems which our country and which various communities in our country are facing. The pandemic situation is pushing social science research into uncharted territories. Now, we all know that the current pandemic situation has made our larger context extremely uncertain and unpredictable. There is no certainty now as to what is going to happen, and things are changing month to month. So in this unprecedented situation which we have now, where there is a lot of complexity, a lot of ambiguity, a lot of uncertainty, and the element of risk which all of us are facing is also high. The pandemic has affected all of us individually. It has affected our households, our families, our communities, our institutions, our neighborhoods, the manner in which we work, the manner in which we study. It has impacted health services. It has impacted economic institutions as well. So the point which I'm making is, in a context where there is so much of uncertainty, what does it mean for social science research? So that is why I'm saying that when we look at the larger context, which is so uncertain and changing in such a fast rate, it is pushing social science research into uncharted territories because we really don't know what is going to happen, and there is a large element of risk. It is only now that some aspects of how the pandemic is affecting various communities or various vulnerable groups is becoming clear in India and in other parts of the world. In India, for example, the situation of the migrant population that has been at the forefront of media reports, and also many research projects have been carried out which look at how the pandemic and the lockdown especially has impacted migrant population. There have also been reports about how women who face domestic violence, their situation has become much more vulnerable because they are not able to step out of the house or take support or remedial services. So certain aspects of what is happening with vulnerable groups, vulnerable population, it is only now, it's only since the past few months that we have started to some degree, we have started understanding what is the situation, what is happening with women who face domestic violence, what is happening with migrant populations, what is happening with people who are in the unorganized sector, and things like that. If we look at what are some of the social problems which we are confronted with, or which social science research rather should make an attempt to explore, to discuss, to understand, we see that there are a gamut of social problems which our country is facing. We all know gender-based violence is being spoken about. As I said, there are issues of informal labor. There is talk about food insecurity, livelihood insecurity, human rights issues, public health issues, and issues of distributive justice. What we need to keep in mind as social science researchers is that what is happening is the vulnerable populations are the ones whose vulnerability has got further complex. It has become much more severe than what they were facing a few months back. What is also interesting about the current situation is that certain population groups which were not really considered as being vulnerable are also becoming vulnerable due to the pandemic. For example, if we look at the youth population, yeah, if we look at the youth population, largely we all look at youth as somebody or as a group which has high resilience, which has voice, which has agency. But when we look at how the pandemic is affecting youth populations, we know that what is happening with youth is also some kind of isolation. Youth are feeling alienated. Youth feel that their mental health has been affected due to social distancing and you know, their socialization patterns, the patterns with which they would interact with their peers, the pattern with which they would study, their lifestyle, their way of being, everything has shifted due to the pandemic. And there has been talk about, you know, there have been concerns about the mental health of youth and how this has become an area of concern, especially during the pandemic. So what we are saying is the social science research field has the pandemic has thrown upon various issues and challenges for social science researchers to explore and study. Groups which were already vulnerable, their vulnerabilities have increased, and newer groups which were not really considered as being vulnerable, even vulnerabilities currently even they are facing. Yes. So when we look at all this kind of a thing, and when we look at the social problems which our country is facing, what we are seeing is the kind of understanding which we had about social problems few months back, that perhaps that same understanding is not adequate for research which needs to take place currently. What we knew yesterday is not enough to prepare us for the future. We need something more, and that is what we will try to explore. Can you please give me 1 second? I have not switched on my PPT. Can you see my PPT?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. Yeah. So what we are saying is the knowledge base which we had is not adequate for us to understand the challenges which our communities, which individuals and institutions in the current context are facing. So this also means that social science research is at a very critical point at this juncture, because there are immense opportunities for us as researchers due to the current context. There is immense opportunity for us to explore various issues happening with different stakeholder groups in our country. And it is important for us to explore these social issues or the concerns which our communities and institutions are facing. So what the case which I'm trying to make is the current situation has put social science research at a very critical juncture, and we as social science research community needs to really prioritize social science research. Yes. Excuse me, can all of you hear me clearly? Excuse me, can all of you hear me clearly?
Yes, madam. You are audible.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So the point which we have been discussing is that we need to emphasize or prioritize social science research. Now, when we have made this case that social science research is important in the current context, I would like to spend a little time on understanding what would be the nature of social science research in the current context and what would be the scope of social science research in the current context. So there are various components in this discussion. One of it is when we talk about how can social science research really contribute in the current context. First of all, what research can do is it can further theoretical and conceptual frameworks which we have. conceptual frameworks or theoretical frameworks which explain the structural issues or the structural concerns in our country. For example, when we have various theoretical frameworks, for example, there is the feminist perspective, there is the critical theory perspective, we already have various theoretical and conceptual frameworks. What we are saying is, by doing research, which is ultimately a process of generating knowledge, of deepening knowledge, of strengthening knowledge, of understanding something which is not really adequately explained, that social science research can have the goal of furthering our conceptual understanding about various issues. It can be human rights issues, it can be on role of social movements, on activism, on small organizations, entrepreneurship, and that kind of things. The second manner in which social science research it can help in the current context is by analyzing policy level issues and responses at the level of government or other government allied institutions. So here what we are saying is that since the announcement of the lockdown, you all are aware that there have been a number of government circulars and notifications, central notifications, state-wise notifications and circulars which have come into place. And it is in fact so immense that making sense of all of them sometimes becomes challenging. So all these circulars and notifications which have come, they all have come with a purpose to help people, to give some guidelines for various organizations, for people's movement and things like that. So what we are saying is social science research can contribute by analyzing policy issues and responses of government institutions and perhaps even civil society responses, because civil society has played a very important role in providing relief and welfare to many of the marginalized groups to which the government was not able to reach adequately. So what we are saying is the responses of various stakeholder groups and the policy level issues and responses at the level of policy, these could be analyzed to see how far they have been effective in reaching their goals, what have been the strengths of these responses and policies, and what have been the lacunae. So what we are saying is social science research has the capacity to inform these policies, to inform these responses, so that they feed into the policy cycle, and maybe next time we'll have more informed policies and responses. The third manner in which social science research can help in the current context is it can investigate, it can help us understand what has been the effect of the pandemic on vulnerable groups. When I talk about vulnerable groups, I'm not just talking about women or tribals, disabled, the homeless population and things like that. But if we are talking about a trade union, how has it affected trade union? Those of you who are from the field of management, how has it affected small businesses? How has it affected petty traders? How has it affected entrepreneurs and small businesses? So every stakeholder group has been affected, definitely due to the pandemic, but some stakeholder groups have got affected in a very severe manner, whereas others maybe not to such a severe manner. But what we are saying is there are a range of individuals, a range of groups, a range of communities, a range of organizations, informal or even formal groups, which have got affected by the pandemic. And social science research can help us understand the degree or the manner in which these different groups, institutions, and organizations have got affected. So this is how we need to understand the importance of social science research in the current context. I would like to hear from all of you before I go further, whether you feel that what we are talking about, the scope of social science research, whether you would like to contribute to this discussion, whether you can think of some examples from your own area where you feel there is a particular group or an institution which needs greater exploration or research has not adequately focused upon it. I would like to hear from all of you. If you think from your own discipline, there are some particular areas which have not been adequately explored. When I say not adequately explored, what I'm saying is the pandemic has affected them in a substantial manner, and it is important for that particular discipline to investigate what has happened with that particular group. Anybody, any volunteers I would like? Sorry. Can any one of you volunteer to share an example? Please, I think it will help the discussion. I would like a little participation. I request if one or two of you can share an example from your own discipline regarding a particular organization or a group which has got severely impacted by the pandemic, and whether you feel it is important for research in your discipline to focus on that particular group.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Micro entrepreneurs has been impacted very due to this situation.
Yes.
Those who are depend on daily wages, that people are also affected with this.
Yes, definitely. Micro enterprises, daily wage laborers, thank you so much for sharing your example. They have got...
And ma'am,
yes, please.
I have found one research, a research area. Some people said about we want to attend some issues of these kind of people. That was sex workers during pandemic. So I don't have direct contact or direct interaction with them, but I somewhere read about that during pandemic. We want to attend their problems. Okay, thank you.
Definitely. I mean, because, we all know that people who live on, daily wages, be it a construction worker, a migrant worker, or even a sex worker, what happens is with the norms of social distancing, their economic or the livelihood activities, as we all know, have got impacted. Yes, and here it is not just about economic activities, but we know that there are other correlates to it also, that when livelihood gets affected, it impacts other aspects as well. For example, perhaps it can impact the mental health, the cohesion which is there in family, that gets disturbed, the harmony within the family gets disturbed. So there are various multiple manner in which due to disruption of livelihood, people or households or families get affected. So what we are saying is that the window of opportunity or for the social science research is immense during the pandemic. There are various groups, various sites which need to be explored, and because we need knowledge, we need information, we need greater understanding about what is really happening within different stakeholder groups. Now, we have said all this that, social science research is important. It has the potential to make immense contribution. But now let us shift the discussion a little and see that what are the demands of the new situation? What are the demands it places on all of us as social scientists, as social science researchers? One of the demand which the current situation is placing on all of us is that we need new conceptual frameworks for analysis. Like I said before, that our understanding or the knowledge, the theoretical frameworks which we have had, they are good. But in the current situation, they perhaps are not adequate for us to explore and understanding the issues which we are trying to understand. So here what we are saying is we need more robust conceptual frameworks which will help us in analyzing. We also need to reflect on what are the sites for our empirical work. Conventionally, before the lockdown, before the norms of social distancing were put into place, we all knew, we all had clarity regarding what are the sites in which we are conducting our research. What are the sites where our data collection or our research setting is, which is the organization, where are the people located. If we talk about sociologists, they had an understanding that perhaps it is the tribal hamlet, it is the village, or it is, the urban slum, a particular low income neighborhood in the urban area, which is the site for empirical work. But right now, with all the with the norms of social distancing and the worries about safety and our own and safety issues, we all know that interacting with our respondents and the communities as we would do before, that is really changed or shifted, and it is not really the situation which was there before. So we need to understand, we need to reflect that what exactly are these are our sites where we doing research. Did somebody have a question? I heard somebody say something. There was a little bit of. Can I continue, or is there a doubt or a question?
Madam, please continue.
Okay. And we also know that there has been a shift in the manner in which we would earlier use our data collection methods and tools. You all are aware that many researchers and perhaps quite a few of you are also using online data collection methods. So what we are seeing is there have been shifts in how social science research needs to be carried out or how it is being carried out in the current context. When we talk about, we have spoken about the conceptual frameworks or the theoretical frameworks which we need for our research studies now. What many researchers and academicians are saying that right now perhaps what can be of help to social science researchers is a multidisciplinary approach, a transdisciplinary approach, or a collaborative research approach. Now, what the understanding here is that looking at the social problems which our communities, which our organizations, which people are facing in the current context, maybe going with only one disciplinary lens will not be sufficient. For example, if those of you who are within the discipline of, say, psychology, want to understand what is happening with youth in the current situation, of course, you can use only a monodiscipline or only psychology to develop a conceptual framework or a theoretical framework to understand what are the challenges, maybe the mental health issues or whatever, which youth are facing. But when we say that a multidisciplinary approach could also be experimented with or could be explored, what we are saying is to understand what is happening with youth in the current situation, perhaps we can borrow elements from psychology, we can borrow elements from sociology as well, because sociology also looks at various aspects of alienation, isolation, and things like that. Anomy, and there are various concepts which even sociology can contribute for understanding what is happening with youth in the current context. So a multidisciplinary approach which takes from the discipline of psychology, which takes from the discipline of sociology, may help us to understand what really is happening, because we all know that what is happening in the current situation is complex, it is uncertain, and to understand complexity, multidisciplinary approach really helps us. Because when we are saying that we are taking a multidisciplinary research approach, we are not only limited to our disciplinary boundaries, but we are going and borrowing from other disciplines as well. So that is why various cohorts of researchers and scholars have propagated that in the current situation, it would be a good idea to have a multidisciplinary approach to research and see how it can help us in understanding many of the complex social problems which our communities and societies are facing now. So what we are seeing is a multidisciplinary approach is better suited for research in this particular context. And this kind of research will be much more robust, will deepen our understanding of our social problems, and hence the kind of insights it generates can really inform policy and programming for vulnerable groups in a much more robust or adequate manner. I would like to take a little break here, and I would like to hear from some of you regarding what you think about this, whether you agree or whether you think the multidisciplinary approach is what the idea which we are discussing, whether you what you feel about it, some insights. I think I would really like it. Any volunteers? Any of you who feel that in your particular discipline, perhaps being limited to only your discipline may not help, and maybe you could borrow from other disciplines? You're free to disagree also. I mean, if some of you feel that multidisciplinary approach is not really suited for your particular projects, please feel free to share.
Ma'am, I didn't get a correct clarification about what you mean by multidisciplinary approach. But I'm asking, I mentioned that what a research regarding sex workers during pandemic. So if we are doing a multidisciplinary approach among those participants, how can you explain based on that example of participants?
Yeah. See, I have not done any work with sex workers, but I can give some ideas regarding what could be a multidisciplinary approach for looking at, the issues of sex workers. These are just some preliminary ideas. One is the manner in which we look at sex workers. Feminist studies or gender frameworks have also looked at the concerns of sex workers. And when we look at, the issues of sex workers from a gender perspective, it is one which recognizes that sex workers, yes, they face exploitation, they face vulnerabilities, but the feminist frameworks also recognize that sex workers have an agency. So when we say they have an agency, what we are saying is they have a decision-making capacities, and they are not really completely helpless, though they are in a very exploitative situation. So here what we are saying is we could use a gender framework which looks at sex workers as having agency, but we could also get a livelihood approach which looks at how their livelihood has been impacted. Maybe even we can borrow from psychology and look at whether the social distancing, the loss of livelihood of sex workers has impacted their mental health. So what we are saying is if we have a research project which we can borrow from concepts of psychology, mental health of sex workers, the livelihood frameworks which is there in social science research, and many people have spoken about the livelihood frameworks. And then we are also saying that feminist frameworks which talk about agency of these people. So this is what we mean when we talk about a multidisciplinary approach. So here what we are saying is when I conceptualize my study, I'm using concepts which belong to different disciplines. This is what we are saying. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is what we are saying, that concepts from different disciplines can be borrowed to make a conceptualization of the study, which looks at the different dimensions of what is happening with sex workers. I do see that. Yes, I see that some of you have put things on the chat also. Yes, yeah. I agree, Sanya. It's Sanya, right? Yeah. To what Sanya is also saying, yes. So the point which we are making is that we need to be cognizant of concepts which we can borrow from other disciplines as well. Yeah. Yeah. So now, when we look at data collection methods, all of you are aware that there are challenges to doing data collection in the manner in which we would do it before social distancing norms were there. We could go into slum communities, we could go into organizations and do face-to-face data collection. But in the current context with social distancing norms and concerns regarding safety of both the respondents and the researcher, many researchers are exploring or working with online, you're all aware, online or phone based methods of data collection. So when we talk about computer mediated or online based data collection methods, there are definitely pros and there are definitely some concerns regarding these methods. So when we look at what are some of the quantitative methods of data collection which are being used, researchers have used self-administered questionnaires. They have posted their survey forms, and through the respondents can fill it up and send it back to the researcher. But there is no face-to-face interaction between the researcher and the respondent. People have used Google Forms, people have used phone survey, where over the phone, I go over each item in my survey and ask the respondent that, for this question, there are these options, and which is the option which is most applicable to your situation. So people have also used WhatsApp to, to collect quantitative data. When we look at qualitative methods of data collection, we are all aware that interviews and focus group discussions can be conducted using online methods of data collection. Right now, we are using one online method. We are using the Zoom platform, and we can use the Zoom platform, of course, for collecting data from our respondents as well. I would like all of us to share a little bit here when we are saying that people are using online methods of data collection. What are some of the advantages which these methods have, which the online methods of data collection provide to us as researchers? I would like some of you to share. What do you think are some of the advantages?
Random sampling is possible and large number of participants can include. At the same time, there is the drawback is that people may not completely attempt the questions, and they sometimes skip from the questionnaire. So we have missed the data, but at the same time, we can get data from different kind of population or persons from different areas. So different cultural aspects can also include in our research work.
Definitely. I think you have, thank you for sharing, and you have brought very important points regarding the advantages and some of the concerns related to online methods of data collection. Definitely, online methods of data collection, they provide us convenience. We don't have to travel. And if the respondents have good internet, we can in fact reach out to a number of people. Yes, which may not have been possible when we are doing, face-to-face investigation. So that is possible. And there are definitely advantages. And also when we do online methods of data collection, researchers have also spoken about how sometimes, certain sensitive issues, people may not really be comfortable talking face-to-face, but over the phone, if good rapport is built, they may feel, in fact, much more comfortable talking to you over the phone rather than meeting you face to face. There is one particular, this kind of a thing has also been seen. when we look at some of the concerns which are there, I would like a little more discussion on this. What do you think are some of the disadvantages or concerns of using online methods of data collection? So I will, first of all, I would like all of us to reflect, which are the population groups to which we can reach out by using online methods of data collection. Can we reach out to everybody?
It is only for the people who are techno savvy.
Yes. Yes. So we see that, thank you for sharing that. Yes, when we talk about online methods of data collection, it is people who are tech savvy and also people who are perhaps who can who are English literate, isn't it? I may have a smartphone, but if I am not English literate, I may not be able to, fill that Google form at all. So there are various concerns which arise even when we are using online methods of data collection, that we are not able to reach to everybody. So that raises questions regarding our sample. Can we really include everybody? When we are saying that only people who are conversant in English, people who have a smartphone, people who may have a smartphone but may not be able to use it well. So there are already various individuals or groups which are getting excluded because we are using online methods of data collection. And also some researchers in the Indian context have pointed out that how it is getting all the more difficult to reach out to certain individuals for research. For example, in some families, there is only one phone which the entire family uses. And if you call on that number, it is usually the household head or a male person who will pick that call. So this whole thing of can we really reach out to women in those households where there is only, one phone? If you give a call to the male household head, he might just tell you that he will give you answers, whatever you require. So how do we negotiate that? How do we kind of convince that person that you may definitely have the information which we are asking, but we really need to have that dialogue or the discussion with the woman in the household and not really the household head. So we need to be aware of both the advantages and some of the concerns of using data collection methods, because then this is also linked to our own scientific rigor. I mean, if a sample size is already getting, certain people are getting excluded from it, then there are questions regarding what exactly is our sample size, what does it represent, what does our sample actually represent? Yes. And I'm sure, this discussion really is, it can take a lot of time regarding the advantages and concerns, but I would like to move a little forward now. Yeah. Yes, one of you have put we can use any language in Google form, isn't it? Definitely, we can use local languages as well. But my question is, I do see that our participants definitely may be comfortable in the local language. But what I see is most researchers are comfortable in English, and that is where the struggle is happening for them to convert their data collection tools into the local language and then administer it. Is what I'm saying. But definitely, in local languages also, we can do. Yeah. Just. Yeah. We have laid down the current context of research. What are the some of the shifts which are taking place? What are the opportunities for social science research? That discussion we have done. So I hope there is a larger understanding which all of us have about the larger things which we have been speaking about. I would like to now introduce the discussion on research ethics at this juncture. So here, what we are saying is first in the discussion which we've had so far, what we have said is research in the current context is really important. Now, what we are saying is research ethics in the current context become all the more important. Research ethics, as all of us are aware, is a discourse which is considered as important globally. But right now, what has happened is because of the demands on research due to the current context, there has been a discussion on, do we need to revisit the ethical principles? Has something changed? What are the concerns? Are we able to use ethical principles in a similar manner to what we were doing before the pandemic situation? So these are some of the things that we will be talking about. Before I get into that discussion, what I would like to do is spend a little time on discussing what are the three key ethical principles which we need to understand for carrying out social science research. So when we look at research ethics, all of us know that ethics in general, they are important because they give a framework for our behavior. Yeah, they give us a framework for how we should behave, what is acceptable and not acceptable. When we talk about research ethics, why are ethics important in research? We all know that societies, communities, they have certain expectations from all of us as researchers, that our research will not cause harm, will not be exploitative, and there is a social contract which society has with social science researchers, and to keep that trust and that contract, and it is important that all of us in our research projects, we give importance to ethics. So when we talk about research ethics, they basically arose out of concerns regarding abuse of power, regarding studies which were done, which were unethical in nature, and which caused harm to individuals and certain communities. So when we talk about research ethics, the discussion actually arose after World War II. We all know what the German doctors and the Jew physicians did to Nazi prisoners during World War II. In the name of medical research, all kinds of unethical research was done on the Jewish prisoners in the name of advancing medical science. So the discussion on the ethical human subject research is a byproduct of what happened, is something which arose out of the World War II context, where the some of the Western countries, their practitioners, their medical practitioners and researchers got together to deliberate on that there needs to be some ethical code which provides us a guideline as to what is acceptable in research and what is not acceptable in research. Since then, a number of international statements or declarations have been put into place, which talk about what are the key principles which need to be kept in place. I hope all of you can understand. Am I going too fast or something? Hello?
Yes, madam. Okay, continue.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is we are just looking at what are the key principles for ethical research. So I will just spend a little time discussing these. The first principle is of respect for persons. When we talk about respect for persons, what exactly it entails, I will discuss that. The second principle is of beneficence, and the third is of justice. I will discuss briefly all these three principles. So when we talk about that our research should be a project which respects persons, what exactly do we mean? It's not really, what does it mean in terms of practice? It is not just an abstract value is what I'm trying to say, but it is also something which needs to be operationalized by how we conduct ourselves as researchers. So what we are saying is, when we are saying that my research project respects persons, what I'm saying is I recognize my potential participants or respondents as being autonomous agents. So when we are saying that they are autonomous agents, so obviously what we are saying is we recognize our potential respondents as people who have the decision-making capacity regarding whether they want to associate themselves with our research, and if they want to associate, in what ways, for how long, and if they want to exit at any point in time, they have the autonomy to do that. So this is what we are saying. We also recognize that not all individuals have similar autonomy. So what we're saying is certain participants who are engaged with our research may have diminished autonomy. So what we're seeing is, for example, people who are disabled or who have certain kind of challenges. When we talk about children, children have diminished autonomy. When we talk about people having some kind of mental health issues, again here it could come under those cohorts of individuals who have diminished autonomy. So what we are saying is there could be individuals in our research who have diminished autonomy, and such individuals need to be protected. So how do we actually do this? How do we actually ensure that we are protecting the people who participate in our research? So what we do is there are various ways in which we can show that we respect the autonomy which our respondents have. So this emphasis on voluntary consent, that the potential respondent voluntarily consents to take part in our research. This consent has not been forced by anybody. That person, out of his or her own free will, is participating in the research. The researcher has not forced, or say, if I'm the potential respondent, say my supervisor, my boss has not forced me to take part in the research. I, as an individual, have the freedom to decide whether I want to take part in a research or not. So this particular thing of voluntary consent and also informed consent, that I have full, when we say voluntary consent, it is out of my free will. I am volunteering to participate in the research. When we say informed consent, what we are saying is I have all the information which I need to make the decision whether I want to take part in the research or no. The research team has given me all information which is required for me to make an informed decision regarding whether I want to take part in the research or no. When we talk about, you all know that, it is important to protect the privacy of people, the confidentiality of data. Now, why is privacy and confidentiality finally important? It is also important to protect the dignity of people. Yes, so when we protect the dignity of people, we are showing that we respect them. And when we talk about people having autonomy, people having the free will to decide, they also have the free will to withdraw from the research without facing any kind of consequences. When I am seeing, okay. So this is the first ethical principle. The second principle is the principle of beneficence. This fundamentally says that the study should not harm the respondents. The people who participate in our research should not be harmed. It is, yes, we say this, but there is also a discussion that there could be perhaps some harm or risk which the participants face. And if it is a situation where there is some harm or risk which the participant or the respondent is facing because they are participating in our research, then the research should be in such a manner that the benefits arising out of the research should be more than the harm which is arising out of the research. So here what we are saying is that the interest of the potential of the respondents, of the people, are paramount, and we cannot justify our research saying that the interests of science, there will be advancement of knowledge. If there is great harm to the people who are participating in the research, that research needs to be revisited or stopped, because the welfare and the safety, the security of people is what is prioritized, and not just the interest of science or our process of building knowledge. Yeah. The third, I will explain all this with examples once I just wrap up this discussion on ethical principles. When we look at the principle of justice, so basically here what it is saying, that when we choose participants, it should be a fair selection of participants. It should not be that only, the burden of research is on certain people, but everybody benefits from it. That is not really a fair situation. Yeah. We all know that when we look at vaccine trials or drug trials, many times the first world countries, they do these trials in African populations and in India. These vaccines benefit everybody, but the trials for the vaccines or for new drugs, they take place in populations which are poor. So here, what are we saying? That the burden of that trial is on a vulnerable group, on a poor group, that the benefits, all of us are also reaping the benefits out of it. So a little bit of, our own understanding that when we are selecting our participants, are we being just? Are we being fair in the selection of participants? Now, when we have spoken about, these three ethical principles, the question arises that who is the person who is responsible for compliance to all these ethical principles at various steps of the research? It is, of course, the research team or the principal investigator who is responsible that all these ethical principles which we have spoken about is adhered to. Now, we spoke about the three ethical principles. I just want to spend a little time on informed consent. We have said that respect for people is important, and one way to show that we have respect for our participants is by seeking their consent for participating in the research. So here we need to understand consent in a little more nuanced manner. I would like to ask the organizers, is it okay if I take 10, 12 minutes more? Is that okay?
Madam, you can continue only for 10 minutes.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So when we talk about the informed consent, here what we are saying is it is the responsibility of the researcher to make a full disclosure about the research. Second, it should be comprehensible or understandable, that we communicate important aspects of our research in a manner that the potential respondent can actually understand. So we have to keep in mind that how we explain, it should be in a manner in which they can understand that they have given consent to us voluntarily, and this consent should be documented. That people have given consent to take part in the research, you document it. So the usual manner in which conventionally it is done is we have an informed consent form where the participant or the respondent signs that I consent to taking part in this research. So when we're talking about online methods of data collection using internet mediated platforms to collect data to administer consent, then there is a question of how do we document it? Yeah. So this is where the pandemic is also throwing challenges in front of all of us as researchers as to how do we document consent when we are reaching out to our potential respondents through internet mediated forums. Do we audio record consent that they have given consent? Do we video record it? Do we tell them to sign it and scan it and send it back to us? There are various options which are available for us. Now, this part about, we spoke about, that some research may have an element of harm and risk. And of course, research also has benefit, which I'm sure all of you know. When we talk about the harm or the risk which people may face, we are aware that harm or risk can happen at different levels. For example, during the pandemic, I would like to ask all of you, if we envisage a situation where we are doing, say, a qualitative research with the migrant population, what do you think? What kind of harm they may face or risk they may face? You're asking them questions, and they're telling you that they have lost the job, that they were without food, they had to walk back to their villages, their children suffered because they couldn't send money and things like that. What do you think all this discussion is doing to them? How does it affect them? I would like somebody to volunteer. If we are asking and we are getting these kind of data from them, that this is how it has affected them, is it causing them some kind of psychological harm, talking about all these issues? Is it affecting them emotionally? Any volunteer for this? Is my question clear?
No, ma'am. Could you please repeat?
Yeah. What I'm saying is, if we are doing a qualitative research, an in-depth interview with migrants, with the migrant population, and we are hearing their stories about how they lost their job, they have no money, there was no transport, they had to walk back to their villages in the hot sun. Their families suffered because they didn't have money to send back home. Do you think it is causing any kind of inconvenience to them when they are talking about all these experiences with the researcher? Is it affecting them in any manner? Yes, somebody has put, thank you, Jasmine Kaur, right? Yeah. So thank you, Jasmine, for sharing that it is having psychological effects. So it is like they are revisiting all that difficulty which yes, yes. Dr. Saha, thank you so much. So what we are saying is, we are asking questions to understand their situation better. But when we are asking pointed questions about what has been their life during the, for example, the first phase of lockdown, or even now, the kind of stories which they are going to tell you, it is going to harm their dignity. It is going to harm their own emotional well-being, because they're revisiting part of their life which could be very traumatic and still cause them anxiety. Yeah. So these are the kind of inconveniences or risks or harms which the respondent is facing, because you are the one asking pointed questions about this. You're asking them to tell you their stories of the inconvenience which they have faced. So this is what we are saying, that research during the pandemic especially needs to be very careful about what are the harms and risks which we are facing. So what we are saying is, what are some of the things which we need to keep in mind? One, when we are talking about selecting a topic during the pandemic, I think as researchers, it is our ethical responsibility to pick topics which are really essential and relevant to the current scenario. Yeah, because there is so much of anxiety, there is so much of uncertainty which is happening, that we pick up topics which are really essential. And I believe that this is not a time where research can happen for the sake of research. No, here we need to talk about research which can make some change in some manner or the other. So we are saying that choose topics which are really relevant to the current situation. And when you're choosing topics, do a little bit of reflection on what are the harms which people will face by participating in the research, and what are the benefits which will arise out of you carrying out that research. Now, when we are talking about online research, there are questions regarding privacy. So when we talk about privacy, it is that aspect that I, as a respondent, have control to what extent I want to share my personal information. So here what we are saying is, when we are doing online research and using platforms like Zoom or WhatsApp video and all that, there have been questions regarding whether these platforms are really secure. There have been questions regarding that. So this whole thing of privacy again needs to be revisited when we are talking about online research. How do we recruit our participants? Because we all know that only certain populations group we can reach out by online research methods. And then how do we actually administer consent? When we are face to face, it is much easier to explain the purpose of our research to our potential participants. We have the privilege of seeing their body language and assessing, okay, they seem a little hesitant or not hesitant. But when we are doing online methods of even administrating consent, it becomes all the more challenging to do it. So what we are saying is these are things which we need to keep in mind. So those of you who are looking for guidelines perhaps are aware that the Indian Council of Medical Research has come up with a guideline for conducting research during the pandemic. So it talks about various things here, right from how informed consent should be elicited to issues of privacy, confidentiality, and things like that. The pandemic has also brought an increased attention on the role of ethics review boards in various institutions and universities, that they need to do work which, because we need studies which need to be approved in short timelines, because studies need to be done because we need knowledge. But also when studies are being approved, we see that this doesn't really compromise either the ethical soundness of the proposals. So these are some of the research ethical concerns which we need to keep in mind during the pandemic. With this, I would like to take a I would like to open the forum for your insights. If some of you could share your questions, your queries, or your experiences with your own research projects, I would happy to hear that. Yes.
Madam, there is a question.
Yes.
You just mentioned that the documented informed consent should be taken. Whether this consent is applicable only for medical science research or it is also applicable for social science research?
It is applicable for social science research as well. If in fact, if you submit the proposal to the ethics review board and you have not, you don't plan to take a documented consent, the ethics body, the IRB, the ethics committee may actually question you as to what is the reason as to why you have not taken documented consent. If you look at the ethical standard, the standard is that even in social science research, the consent should be documented. If for some reason you're not able to document the consent, the reasons for this or the justification for this should be given in a very clear manner.
Thank you, ma'am. So you started your talk with the impact of COVID pandemic on research, domestic violence, migrant population, social vulnerabilities, and issues of unorganized sector. You outlined the scope of social science research during this pandemic. Afterwards, you discussed about ethical guidelines in terms of Nuremberg Code, Helsinki Declaration, and 3 key ethical principles as mentioned in the Belmont Report of 1978. Your talk was full of knowledge and discussion. We would like to hear you again in the upcoming 5-day faculty development program on research methodology. So thank you, madam. With this, all the technical sessions are over. I thank all the participants for being with us on Zoom as well as YouTube Live. Please note that filling of feedback form is mandatory for getting participation certificate. The feedback links will be shared shortly in the Telegram and WhatsApp group. Now I request Dr. L.D. Puri to propose a vote of thanks. Dr. L.D. Puri.
Sir, before if the session is going to end, I want to ask one thing to Tara, ma'am.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a concern that how can we write down our research report in that means thesis without mentioning the pandemic effect on our thesis?
See, definitely at this time, there are various types of research which is happening. Some of them are looking at COVID related issues, but not all research is looking at COVID related issues. So if your research is not really linked to COVID, I think that is fine. But if during data collection, if due to the social distancing norms, you have made the choice of using certain tools or data collection methods because of the social distancing norms, then that needs to be put in place. Yeah, because when we are choosing our data collection methods, we usually argue that I am choosing this particular tool or data collection method on a scientific basis, right? For example, if my larger study is within the umbrella of quantitative research, then I say that I'm using this particular questionnaire and it is most suited to the objectives of my research and all that. But if you are, due to the social distancing norms, you are administering your questionnaire by online methods, I think that discussion needs to come in the methodology chapter, that the choice of administering the questionnaire by online means was made due to social distancing norms. I think that needs to come in the methodology.
Okay. And I think we want to cut down the number of questions or questionnaires by online. Isn't it, ma'am?
See, one thing is there is an element of stress which all of us are facing. Yeah. So if you look at what are some of the suggestions or recommendations which researchers are giving regarding how to use online tools, online methods of data collection, they are saying that because, first of all, on online methods, when we are using online platforms, first of all, making rapport building with the participants or respondents is much more challenging than when you are face to face. Right now, I'm finding it challenging to do this session. If I was physically in this same space like all of you, I could have observed your body language better. I could have had a sense of whether you are all really in the session or tuned out. Right now, please take it in a little light manner. It's just for the sake of explaining that I'm doing. Right now, some of you, the videos are not on. So I don't even get to see visual clues whether you are interested, disinterested. Yeah. So it becomes much more difficult for me. I'm not able to gather data because I'm not able to see some of you. I don't have any visual cues. So what we're saying is, similarly, when we are doing data collection by using online platforms, one, to build rapport becomes much more challenging. When you have not been able to build very strong rapport, then having questionnaires which are very exhaustive, lengthy, you may just lose the interest of the participant. Yeah, they may just disengage at any point and you may not really even come to know why that has happened. So the recommendation which has been given is, if the online tools should be not very lengthy, to the point, and as simple to understand as possible. Yeah, because we don't want to lose out our participants. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for informative and pleasant presentation. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Is anybody having questions? Okay.
Please propose vote of thanks.
Okay. Good evening, one and all. On behalf of Vinayakrao Patil Mahavidyalaya, Vaizapur, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this online one-day workshop on research methodology for the Faculty of Commerce, Management and Social Science. Ladies and gentlemen, at the outset, I thank Principal R.T. Deshmukh sir, College Development Officer, Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandal, Aurangabad, who has been the driving force behind this whole process. His vision, interest and hard work has once again culminated in another success story. I wish to thank him for the efforts he has put into this workshop. Thank you, sir. I thank our resource person for the first plenary session, Dr. Chakradhar Indurkar sir from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Guwahati, who eagerly addressed and shared his wide spectrum of knowledge on the topic of qualitative research methodology. He highlighted the importance of correct approach towards research. He also pointed out do's and don'ts when employing a particular approach to collecting or analyzing data. He also explained different framework of research. Thank you, sir. I thank our resource person for second session, Dr. Tara Koti ma'am from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Devnar, Mumbai. Ma'am, we are really enlightened with your knowledge and views shared on the topic research ethics. You pointed out the scope for social sciences research in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. What is the necessity of developing a multidisciplinary approach, new data collection methods? You very well explained how to apply ethical principles. Thank you, madam, for your intellectual stimulation. I would like to thank our principal, Dr. U.V. Panchal sir, for his enthusiastic support and unflinching guidance for organizing this workshop. A special thanks to the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their support and coordination. And last, our deepest thanks to all the participants for their active participation. Without them, it would not be possible to successful conduct of this workshop. With these words, we move to the end of today's seminar. Thank you. Feedback link is shared in the chat box and WhatsApp group also. You can find it on YouTube.